Hey, what's up, guys? This is Igor, the Go wine merchant, here with our good buddy over here. So we want to talk about something that ticked me off. I read about this yesterday, and it really ticked me off.
This is breaking news, folks.
Yes. So we're talking about a Bête Noire, which is Rombauer Chardonnay. So in Wine Searcher, which is a platform where a lot of wine enthusiasts, they search for wine shops for their favorite wines. They have an editorial staff. It's a Wine Searcher article, and it was written by W. Blake Gray, which is one of their in-house editors. It just became condescending, and it became condescending to wine professionals. And I just wanted to talk about it. Gallo bought Rombauer. They don't know what the amount is, but they're estimating somewhere in the vicinity of 1.2 billion or above, most likely above. So it's a great, a huge sale for Chardonnay. That's one of the biggest brand name Chardonnays in the industry. I'm not a fan of this Chardonnay. The Chardonnay, I've had it. So right now, I have a wine shop. I specialize mostly in international wines. I mostly drink myself international wines. But back in the day, how I got into wine is I used to drink a lot of California wines, Napa, Sonoma. So that's mostly what I knew. So when I tried Rombauer, I was mostly drinking California wine. And the one time I had it, I didn't like it. So even when I was liking California wines, which I like much less right now, I didn't like Rombauer. That overwhelming buttery note, it just kind of, to me, just destroyed the palate. But it's obviously something that people who love Rombauer, they love the buttery taste. It's kind of got people either love it or hate it. And a lot of people love it. Yeah. I mean, George, what's your thoughts? You've had this wine before.
My thoughts is that I've served this wine a million times in some very expensive restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's asked for by name. People, especially the Chardonnay, they know it. It's like a cult following. It's like a weird movie that everybody likes and you just don't get. Well, that's in the camp I'm in. I just don't get it.
Cult, I'm not even sure. Cult to me is like small. Chardonnay is it's like a brand. I call it a brand.
Yeah.
And it even says here, it has a great brand name. It starts like kind of mocking this. So this is, I'm going to read a couple of sections of the article that kind of really tick me off. Many are saying, but I hate Rombauer Chardonnay. Rombauer's distinctive, rich, buttery Chardonnay is the #1 Bête Noire of sommeliers and many onophiles. You should be happy because the sales prove that your mom matters more than a sommelier. But after all, shouldn't she? And so the mom is brought in is because it's actually said that a lot of wine moms love Rombauer. So that's what the article is about. So, that to me was kind of condescending, And George, I'm not a sommelier. I know a lot of sommeliers since I'm working in the industry. I think there's plenty of arguments about the clickiness of sommeliers that I could make. How they kind of stick, to the classic regions like Burgundy, Champagne, and they turn their nose at everything else. I could make that argument, but I won't make this argument in this case because to me here, it's completely condescending.
I can tell you from someone that's worked in the front lines, with the guests at the time they're making their purchases. In the restaurant, people like what they like, and that's fine. I can't tell you what to like. If you like something, even if I don't, or vice versa, you should go with your gut. But I will say that being dogmatic about it and not trying new things just because you like, I only drink Rombauer Chardonnay. Well, that's a little closed-minded. And frankly, it's very one note. My opinion is if you're gonna spend $60, buy a nicer meal and eat a stick of butter and a glass of water, and it's pretty much the same thing. That's kind of how I feel about it. Again, my opinion, but I will say you should drink what you like. This, however, is more about the article, I think, than the actual wine.
Specifically about the article, kind of the condescending nature of the article. So to me, the rich buttery notes, you could go in many directions. Yes, people say, I like what I like. Everybody's got a different palate. I hear that all the time. Mm-hmm. Everybody who says that seems to have the same taste. They like the Rombauer Chardonnay, they like the Frank family Chardonnay, they like the Camus Cabernet. They only like 3 or 4 wines. There's thousands, if not millions of different wines in the world. But everybody who says, everybody's got a different palate, they keep saying that. And then, I'll tell you something else about this. How he's saying it's kind of condescending. So it's kind of like saying sommeliers are professionals. They're professional in drinking wine. So a couple of things that irritated me. He's kind of putting down sommeliers. I think he's almost there's almost like sexism to his thing. I think he's saying like he's referring to people in the Saw movie a lot about these like kids. It was mostly white men, and I think that's what he's kind of implying here. Oh, you shouldn't be listening to these snooty white men. You should listen to your mom. That's kind of the condescending nature of it. Even though there's a lot of sommeliers who are women.
Yes.
A lot.
No,
a lot.
a whole
so
lot.
there's already sexism. The other thing that kind of ticks me off, so they're wine professionals. Some professionals are better than other professionals. I think you can agree with that.
In any
industry.
Go get your car fixed, and you'll see who's better than the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he said, oh, listen to your mom versus the wine professionals. Oh, okay. So like if your health is not good and the doctor tells you one opinion, your mom gives you another opinion, are you gonna be listening to your mom? Do you know nicknames for Rombauer Chardonnay, especially in an area where we are right here? So we're in Walnut Creek. We have
upper middle class suburbia. I would say
but we have Lafayette here, Orinda.
Mm-hmm.
We have Daniel, San Ramon, Concord. So one of the things, I never even heard this until I actually opened the shop. And this is specifically to Rombauer Chardonnay, not to wine in general, not to buttery Chardonnays in general. Two nicknames I heard of it. One, Cougar Juice.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard
okay. Yeah. The second one, Danville Crack.
That I've never heard.
Okay, that's specifically those wines.
Cougar Juice I've heard.
Yeah.
Cougar Juice I've heard. Yeah.
How come this article doesn't mention those things? Oh, I'm sure W. Blake Gray knows about them, but he didn't even mention it because that would be pretty, funny and
He'd get fired, is what would happen. He'd get fired.
Well, he might, he might get fired. But to me, the thing is, Rombauer has never promoted that either.
Yeah.
Those nicknames, everybody in this area knows those nicknames. Those people knew those nicknames who are the drinkers. They know that nicknames. And then we could go into many other directions. We're talking about like, those sweet buttery notes. A lot of people who like the sweet buttery notes, they eat a whole lot of processed foods with a lot of the cornstarch. Nobody says dry buttery notes. It's a dry wine.
Yeah.
They call it sweet. That's for a reason. If you're on a precipice maybe of having diabetes, you wouldn't like Rombauer.
Maybe, I don't know.
And then and then the other thing is, there is clickiness in wine.
There's definitely click. Rombauer is a click.
Well, explain to me your kind of interpretation.
Okay, so what again, like I say, if I think of movies when I think of that.
Yes.
You're a movie guy.
Yes.
Think of like The Big Lebowski. When it came out originally, nobody gave a damn about it in the theater.
Yes, including myself.
Including yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I mean, over time, there's like millions and millions of people that walk around quoting it.
Yes.
There's a place in Emeryville that actually has a quote. That's the name of their bar.
Yes.
So I feel like Rombauer has that's like a super loyal. You couldn't tear the Chardonnay out of their hands if they were dying.
Yes.
They're going to take it with them to the grave. That's what I'm talking about.
And to me, this comes from the brand. You mentioned suburbia. There's kind of branding is big in suburbia. Creativity is bigger in big cities. More creative outfits, more restaurants. They get Michelin stars. Suburbia restaurants typically don't get Michelin stars.
Well, you got a lot of times you have kids that come to restaurants with their parents, and you can't be as creative. You can't be as risk taker because the people that are coming to you are not going to take those risks with you. So you're sitting there with half a menu that no one buys. Same thing with the Chardonnay,
Right.
And again, like I say, you drink what you like, of course, but like a lot of times smaller restaurants that have a following that's local don't dare to step out of bounds with their wine list, with their menu, because they don't want to turn off the 5-mile radius that feeds them.
Yes.
There's no tourists coming to Walnut Creek. Whereas if you're in San Francisco, there's international tourism there. Everybody's gonna want something different. So I think that contributes as well.
Hey George, can we take a little break from this rant because we have a sponsor?
You have a sponsor? Okay, well let's see. Who is it?
This rant is sponsored by Rombauer Chardonnay. Typically, this wine sells for $40. If you guys buy 2 or more bottles, you get 10% off. If you guys buy 6 or more bottles, you get a whopping 15% off. Just think about this. Sweet, rich, buttery Chardonnay. Or just thinking about it, I bet it brings out the inner cougar in you.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm a part of this segment.
And remember, the Go Wine Merchant abides. If you guys want it, I'll bring it in. All right, George, let's get back to the rant.
Oh my God.
Writer of the article he goes on to say, I have a quote here. So he's talking to a renowned winemaker, Richie Allen. So this is what he said. And the guy worked in Penfolds, probably the most famous winery out of Australia.
Yeah, that's true.
So he said, I worked at Penfolds, and one thing I learned from chief winemaker Peter Gallo was, you don't make what you like, you make what sells. I heard it a billion times, so you probably heard it a billion times.
Yeah,
so
but it's a lie.
Well,
it's a complete lie. It's a complete lie.
Well, I think the implication.
Otherwise, there'd be 10 styles of wine out there, and that would be the end of it, because that's the 10 things that sell everywhere. I mean, that's nonsense.
Like, what does it tell you? Like, does this tell you that somebody's working on their craft to make it the best wine possible?
No.
Or does this mean that he's condescending to the populace?
I mean, that's what it tells me. But again, I don't believe it. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't trying to lie.
Yes.
But I think that whole premise is flawed in the fact that there's literally hundreds of styles of wine from all over the world.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they all just stop
Yes.
making the different ones and just make the 10 that sell?
Right.
And import, like even like from other countries. Why do they send in wines that they know we don't drink here?
I seek out geeky wines that show a particular characteristics of the place they come from.
Sure.
Burgundy, and they make two wines. They make Chardonnay, which they call white Burgundy, and they make Pinot Noir, which they call red Burgundy.
Right.
And a lot of places, including California, they try to replicate Pinot Noir, and they call it Burgundian style. All of these things. What Burgundy is famous for is their site. Their Pinots taste specifically to their site. You can't replicate them.
Correct.
And in fact, Burgundians have a saying: we don't make Pinot Noir, we make red Burgundy. This article goes to say that they make 350,000 cases of a wine. It's the definition of mass-produced.
Well, I will say, if you're buying a car, obviously that's going to be mass-produced. These are farmers, ladies and gentlemen. They're making product, and they're making product that needs to be in short supply to get excellent quality. You don't want 1,000 grapes on a vine. Yeah. You want 100 grapes on a vine. That's the way you get the most flavor in each piece of fruit. You couldn't even fit 350,000 cases in this whole store. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, good for them for making the money, but I don't get this like religion in Rombauer.
If this was a typical article, this winery says this winery, you roll your eyes and you're like, whatever,
Yeah.
But when you have to make this condescending article, it's just tick me off.
Well, yeah, the moms know better than the sommeliers a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a little
yeah. And nobody's
like you say. How many sommeliers are moms? I bet a lot of them.
See, that's the thing about it. So he's kind of painting a picture like, oh, it's those snooty boys from the Saw movie.
Yeah, right. And the stupid women know better than the. I mean, that's of course it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no.
The article's annoying. The article's annoying.
Yeah, it's like I said.
Yeah, he's a shill.
Shill.
He's a shill.
Yeah.
He's a sniveling corporate shill, trying to make Rombauer even more popular.
Yes.
By making this whole, trying to get wine people, because let's face it, no one's gonna, like the average person that buys wine from the supermarket and doesn't care, loves their Rombauer, they're not gonna read this article.
Right.
This is for people in the industry or kind of industry adjacent, or that are very interested in wine, trying to get into that market.
Yes.
And that's deliberately pointing towards that. So, I mean, I find that not cool.
Yeah, and that is exactly the shill, because he says later on, Rombauer's wines, other than Chardonnay, have been good for a while, even maybe especially for non-moms. So he just says how much he loves the Merlot. Nobody loves Merlot. I'm not even talking about Rombauer Merlot. I'm talking about Merlot in general.
I've had their cab.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
Just not good. I mean, again, if you like it, buy it, drink it, and enjoy it. But if you're thinking about trying Rombauer's cab, don't waste your time. There's way better for way cheaper.
And he's giving a little backstory how the family, how they wanted to make wines in the style of Kistler or Sonoma-Cutrer. And I'm kind of odd because Kistler, that's good wine. Sonoma-Cutrer is not good wine. So it's kind of, they're both kind of Chardonnays. I actually don't know what the correlation you say, but there's actually something really funny in this article. It says, Rombauer changed winemakers in the late 1980s. The one he fired landed on his feet at Harlan Estate. Pretty good. So Harlan Estate, which is one of the most famous wineries out of Napa, and they're prices are double the prices of first growth Bordeaux, the most famous wines in the world.
Yeah.
That's the guy who used to be making wine for them.
They fired him to go get somebody to make an average wine.
Yeah, so the guy who was making 100-point wines, they fired. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I had no idea.
You know, just par for the course.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is meant for a specific group of people that are open-minded, that have some sort of interest in the wine world and its complexities. This article is an affront to those people.
Yeah, yeah. It shouldn't be read in the wine search magazine.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Write that in, you know, the New York Times or something, or whatever.
Right. That's
some sort of lifestyle section.
That's what, you know, and I've read articles by this guy before. You know, nothing particularly stood out. He's not exactly replacing Justice Robinson for me. You know, a fantastic woman sommelier. Well, not sommelier. She's master of wine. She's above sommelier. She's the expert. And if all of you were drinking wines that she recommends, you guys would be drinking the best wines in the world, and not necessarily the most expensive wines in the world, because a lot of people think that the best means automatically the most expensive.
So
not even close.
So not true. Yeah. I've reviewed so many wines under $30 on my channel that were very, very good to phenomenal.
Yes.
Some of them I had with you, actually.
Yes.
That were in that $30, $35 range. So I was like, oh shit. I mean, why not? You know, why not buy those wines?
Yeah, because you definitely see on your channel, Wine by the Bay TV, if you guys want to check it out. I mean, you'll put the link to that. Yeah.
I drink it, but I wouldn't buy it.
Put in the link below, including our sponsor deal.
Oh my God. Take my name off of this channel now. That's it. I'm done.
All right.
No more Rombauer.
We're done. So I got this thing off my chest. Seriously, guys, if you want to drink good wine, why don't you go to my website, winery.com, browse through it, read some of the reviews that actual professional critics who give good scores to good wines. They don't give good scores to Rombauer Chardonnay. So
yeah, I don't even know what they score Rombauer Chardonnay. You have any idea?
They don't need to score it anymore, because I think if you go to a lot of the wines online that have bestsellers, Rombauer Chardonnay is top of the list. Wines like the ones I mentioned, Fair Family and Caymus Cabernet, they don't sell by on scores.
Well, let me ask you a question. Yes. Do you have a wine that's half the price that you would recommend in that place? Let's leave a link. Will you pick a wine, a Chardonnay that you have? Maybe not necessarily California, but something like this. Rombauer goes for, what'd you say, $50?
It's $40.
40.
Price.
Okay, 40. So let's look for some. You know, we'll do this together. We'll find a wine. I'll leave a link in the description box to a wine that he would recommend for you to try, other than the Rombauer, to kind of expand your palate if you're a Rombauer fan, or if not, just for whatever reason.
Yeah, we'll do a recommendation. It's a choice made more out of fear than out of how much people love the taste of it.
It's I'm not thinking, I know I've had this before, it doesn't make me sick, I'm going to order it.
Yes.
Oh, hey, listen, don't forget, you have tastings, right?
We do have tastings, and we taste wines from all over the world. The tastings on Fridays from 4 to 6 and Saturdays from 1 to 4, and we try to showcase the whole wine world. So if you like Rombauer, but this kind of persuades you to try new things, come to the tastings. I think that will be a great introduction.
Go to his Instagram. There's all kinds of footage. You know, they shoot videos from time to time.
Yes.
They have DJs here sometimes. They have food trucks. So definitely come on down on the weekends. It's a fun time. And to be honest with you, the last couple that I've attended, there's been a lot of people here. So I mean, you're missing out if you don't come down. All right. So Igor, I'm done. Are you done?
Thank you, George. I'm done.